I'm Robin Chant. So to just give you a background on me, I've been a firefighter paramedic for almost 28 years now. And as the paramedic side, I realized that the medical system, our Western medical system, doesn't look at the effects of stress. And getting into energy healing and all these different types of modalities that I've been into for almost 20 years now, I realize it's the stress that goes on to causes our dysfunction in our bodies. Okay. And so I'm going to talk about what can lead to some stresses in our body. And we even get to learn a technique tonight to basically de-stress our body and mind. A quick, easy technique that can easily be done anywhere, anytime, without even people knowing you're doing it. And yeah, so please, by all means, I hope you can ask a question. The more stressed you are, the further away you are from your authentic self. Okay. And in life, the further away you are from your authentic self, the more depressed you're going to be, the more dis-ease with life you're going to have, the more disconnected with life you're going to have. So tonight we're talking about de-stressing you and being more of you. Okay. The stronger the sense of self, the more you will not be affected by stress in your life. Resetting and recharging you is so important, and you have to demand it for you. Nobody, like, people are going to go, ooh, she's stressed out, but nobody's going to say, oh, she needs to take a day off and make you take a day off. You might have a job like that. That's great. Or you might have a spouse that demands you take a day off. But usually by the time they demand it, it's a little bit late. So, are you willing to connect with your sense of self? Okay. This presentation looking at what causes stress and what you can do to connect to more of your authentic you. That's my telephone up there, guys. I did a presentation. It was being your authentic self in a summit. And so that's why I've changed a bit of these wordings to authentic self. So our nervous system. Now this I learned way back in anatomy and physiology in university, probably close to 30 years ago now, almost 30 years ago. And I never thought I'd be teaching it. I'm so glad I learned it and understood it way back then. But yeah, now I'm definitely teaching lots of this. So our nervous system basically has two modes of function. And it's either you're in one or the other, not a combination. Like you're not in, oh, I'm partly there, partly. No, you're either in sympathetic or parasympathetic, not 50-50, okay? If you're in sympathetic mode, that's your fight-flight mode. That's your go, 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 do, do, do. Like if your to-do list is this long or however long on your day off, you're in sympathetic mode, okay? The nerves are also like this, okay? They're not relaxed. So the nerves are very contracted, okay? They're overloaded. And there's no connection to your authentic self, okay? And you have way more anxiety in your life here. So if you're always in sympathetic mode and you can't seem to relax, well, that's because you're always in sympathetic mode. You're going to get more anxiety with this mode, okay? And another thing about this mode, if you're in it, you're not resting, digesting, nor healing. So the next mode is parasympathetic, and P for play, okay? This is where you rest, digest, and heal. And this is the only place that you can find your sense of self. And this is also where you activate your creative side. And activating your creative side is oh so good for you. It's good for your authentic self. It's also good when people get together, when ladies get together and do something creative, or men, when they do like jamming, like with music and stuff like that. I don't mean making jam, but that's possible too. But when you get together and say you go quilting with your friends, when you do that, you're being creative, hopefully in the moment, you actually release a chemical that actually helps to heal you. So you actually want, like, I used to make fun growing up. Oh, people are getting together and quilt. So to create a sense of self, tap into that parasympathetic mode as much as possible. And you know you're in the parasympathetic mode when you lose track of time. You know, when you're cooking or baking or going for a walk in nature and you're just taking in all what nature has to offer with your five senses, when you lose track of time, that's when you know you're in the parasympathetic mode. And this is what people that meditate, that's the mode they want to get into too, because then you rest, digest, and heal. And also the nerves are able to relax. You know, how many diseases are caused by nerves being overloaded? Okay. And so if you could get into the parasympathetic mode more and allow those nerves to relax, they can heal. Okay. So you're able to handle day-to-day stresses with ease. It is a gift to give you, to give to you so that you can give to others. Too often we love to give and give to others, and then we get sucked dry. So you got to learn to give to you, take that time out for you, reset you before you're giving to others. Okay. And no one will demand it for you. You have to demand it for yourself. Are you willing to do that? Okay. Relaxing daily allows the nerves to reset to their natural ability. How many diseases are caused by overloaded nerves? Will you choose to create a sense of self today and relax into being you? And yeah, I can't say how important that is. So unearthing your authentic self. You are led to believe. Now, this is really cool. Okay, this is something I realized a few years ago, why it's so hard to choose us. You were led to believe that if you were to choose you, you were actually choosing against others. You know, that's what our parents probably taught us. I'm not saying all our parents taught us that, but yeah, if you choose you, other people lose, is basically what you're taught. And that's not true, okay? By being here today, I know you cannot choose against others. You can only choose against you. So by being here today, I know you cannot choose against others, but you can always choose against you. How much do you choose against you daily? Okay. If you start to cultivate this sense of self, you become the gift of you and invite others to choose themselves too. I remember years ago, for many, many years, I saw a lot of body talk clients. And this one mother, she was like, I can't get my daughter to choose herself. Like she will not choose her. I go, well, do you choose you? She goes, never. Well, you have to choose you first as a mother before a daughter can start choosing you. So creating this sense of self starts to create more of you in your life. Thus, you'll be less stressed, less anxiety, more in the moment, so that you're able to enjoy real moments. Now, let's look at our brain. Did you know we have a right side of our brain and a left side of our brain? And getting them to work together will create more of a sense of self, thus less stress in your life, okay? The next slide, I have a video demonstrating the difference between your right and left side of the brain. Now, this comes from Jill Bolte Taylor. It's from a TED Talk, and we edited it, like it's about 19 minutes, I think, long. We're not going to watch that long. She basically was a brain scientist and didn't really study the right side of the brain, okay? She had a stroke in the left side of her brain, so her left side of her brain shut down. And she realized if we were more in our right brain, we would be more balanced of people, like balanced in who we are. She realized too, she was only like 37 years old when she had this stroke. She realized she was too much in her left brain and very out of balance. And so it was really neat to watch her whole video on TED Talks. Her video actually was the first TED Talk video to go viral. So, and I think that's so cool. TED Talk owes everything to Jill Bolte Taylor, having a stroke in her left side of her brain at 37. So if you have a balanced brain, as in you use right and left side, okay, you have a balanced sense of self. If you have an unbalanced brain, you're too much probably in the left side, okay, you have a false sense of self, okay? And you can be an unbalanced brain too much in the right side too. You know, those are the people that are totally in the moment. They forget to pay their bills. They are just in la la land all the time. It is so good because, and yeah, sorry guys, the guys on, everybody online. It is so good because she actually, I won't say she was atheist, but she didn't believe in energy healing, nothing. And she wasn't married. She basically went into brain science, studying the brain because she has a brother that was schizophrenic and she wanted to study the brain. And when she had the stroke and realized if you're in your right brain, you can go to nirvana, like ecstasy, basically. And she realized there was so much missing from studying life by excluding the right brain, and so much missing of studying herself. And she wrote a whole book, got married at, she would have been 40 some years old. Her whole life changed because she realized she was missing the right part of her brain, like missing being in touch with it. So that's why I invite you guys to get into the parasympathetic mode, get into that right side of that brain, do something creative where you're not overcome by mind chatter. And so the more authentic you is in the right side of the brain. Mind chatter, the constant blah, 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 either negativity or you need to do this, or you need to do that, pay the bill, don't forget this, don't forget that. That's what I mean by the mind chatter. So very good question. We want to be in that present moment where the mind can just be quiet. So basically we have a right side of the brain and the left side of the brain. Both are required us to function within the day. Having them work together, you'll be less stressed. Most of us have a highly functional left side of the brain, questioning everything, judging everything, worried about the past and the future all at the same time. However, it's our right side of the brain is what you want to be able to get into with the present moment. And you cannot shut up the left side of the brain. It's always going to be there. Okay. You can quiet the more you meditate. I like to get my bars run. That's a modality, access consciousness, getting your bars run. To quieten my left side of my brain. You can make it quieter. It will never shut up. Okay. Unless you're like her and had a stroke in the left side of your brain. However, you can make your right side stronger. Okay. And I have to admit, as when I was 30 some years old, been firefighting for a while, I had no idea I had a right side of my brain. There was no consciousness of it. And the more I've made it stronger, the less my left side controls me. So less anxiety, less depression, less worry, so much more. I've made my right brain stronger and way more intuition, way more real moments, way more like being able to pick out what you need to do right now instead of listening to that left brain mind chatter. So bringing in the present moment, using the right side of your brain, closing your eyes allows us to access the right side of your brain more. The more your eyes are open, the more you're actually accessing the left side of your brain, okay? Doing something that allows you to get lost in time, maybe creative, allows the right side of the brain to get stronger, which I've talked about tonight. Allowing you to listen to your intuition strengthens the right side of your brain. Your uniqueness is in the right side of your brain. Nurturing the essence of you is so important, and more on this later, okay? Being in the right side of the brain allows you to rest, digest, and heal. That is oh so important. Rest, digest, and heal. That's that parasympathetic mode. P for play. Okay, now we've talked about the brain. Now we're going to talk a little bit about our emotions. Okay, so we have emotions in our bodies. Like when we're sad, we cry. We have a physiological response. So what is happening in our brain is reflected in our body. Okay. Emotions are formed and they have an energy and are made up of a chemical too. This is a neuropeptide. That's a chemical of they call emotions. It's released by the body when emotion is activated. More of this is explained in the book Candace B. Pert, a PhD. She actually a doctor by trade, like medical doctor. She died actually very young. I'd say maybe 10 years after publishing this book at 67. She was the first doctor that studied emotions and the chemicals they made. So a lot of the neuropeptides that have been labeled and discovered, basically, they're always in the body, but she basically put names to them, was basically because of her. And this was really a breakthrough in medical because they're starting to look at emotions have such a strong effect on the body. So there's an energy or chemical, both basically, needs to be synthesized or digested and released. If it is not, it'll end up in different parts of the body and create havoc in the body. So the Western medical viewpoint on it, which is basically from that book, once this neuropeptide, this chemical messenger is created, it becomes a chemical. And if this emotion is not fully expressed or not fully synthesized in the body, this chemical will create issues where it's stored in the body. So you'll have an emotion, say anger, and you don't want to be angry. You know, you want, oh, I'm a nice girl. I don't need to yell at this person. And you hold that anger in, that neuropeptide then is held within the body. That chemical is held within the body. And then wherever it's stored, because you didn't express it, it will cause havoc in that part of the body.
Can you just ask it to go away? Release it from my body?
You can. It depends how in tune you are with your body, okay? Whether or not your body listens to you. One of the first place where a chemical is stored, this neuropeptide chemical, is actually your diaphragm. Okay, so your diaphragm's that big muscle underneath your lungs. It's what allows you to breathe, okay? So one of the first places where this neuropeptide is stored is in that diaphragm. If you do anything that gets that diaphragm moving, it actually will be expelled. So running, horseback riding, riding on a motorbike, singing, all of those will release that neuropeptide. So joggers, not only do they get addicted to the endorphins released after they jog, but they don't have to deal with those stuck emotions. They let them go. And so, yeah, I think joggers, yes, they're addicted to the jogging and the endorphins. That's really cool. And feel good about your body, blah, blah, blah. But they actually don't have to deal with those emotions. They actually get released from the body. Or horseback riding, anything that gets that diaphragm moving so the body can let it go. And so this is basically, it would be like having something to eat, but not fully eating everything, and then leftover food is left to rot in different parts of the body, okay? It is this chemical that may cause a muscle or joint to ache until it's released, okay? Or this chemical too, that person could injure themselves doing something else, right? Now that area is affected because this chemical's there, it won't heal as quickly as it should. Okay, now that was the Western medical viewpoint on it. Now, Eastern medical viewpoint on it is there's an energy to an emotion, which we know. Like when we get angry, there's an energy to it. When we get sad or depressed, there's an energy to it. We can sense this energy. Our whole body feels the anger, or when we're sad, it totally changes our posture. So this energy, if it's not expressed, goes into different parts of the body and then creates havoc or lack of harmony in that area. This equals to a lack of flow of energy, thus lack of blood flow and then lymph. This creates a buildup of physical toxins. So what that last paragraph basically says, when in your body, you are actually very much energy, and energy has to be flowing first, then blood follows, then lymph. If the energy isn't flowing in that part of the body, there's a lack of blood and then a lack of lymph. So that becomes a buildup of toxins. So let's look at when we do not fully express or digest emotion. Let's look at grief first. We're not going to tackle all the emotions tonight. If you guys want to know about all the emotions, I have on my Art of Choosing You website, I have what your aches and pains are saying to you. I go over all the emotions. So grief, it's a response to loss of someone or something, like even grieving a lost childhood. It's a natural reaction to loss. There's as much good in every emotion as there's as much bad. Like we want to make some emotions good and some emotions bad. No, there's as much good in every emotion as there is bad. Like anger is good. It gets you off your ass to work out. Okay, I'm done, being tired all the time. I need to work out. Grief allows us to grieve an attachment to something when we no longer have it in our lives. Grief is good. Fear is good. It makes us think. Worry is good. It stops us, makes us think without getting injured. Okay. So yeah, there's as much good in every emotion as there's much bad. So the neuropeptide that is created with grief is processed first in the lungs. So not fully processing this emotion can create inflammation in the rest of the body. Because if you ever have it with your lungs, that actually creates a lot of inflammation in the rest of your body. Okay. The positive aspect of grief allows you to bridge the gap between attachments and allows you to move on, a transition in life. Okay. So on with these lungs. So this grief goes into the lungs. And if you do not fully let it go, fully synthesize it, it causes havoc in the lungs. And you'll have nurses that work in long-term care, like care homes. Mr. and Mrs. Jones come to live in the care home. They get their own room together, the whole bit. When Mr. Jones dies, usually within 3 months, if Mrs. Jones doesn't fully grieve, she gets a lung infection of some sort, pneumonia, whatever, and she passes on. So it's very interesting when I do this presentation with nurses that, oh yeah, that's so true. So the lung meridian 2 flows between 3 and 5 a.m. So if you have unresolved grief in your life, you'll actually wake up in that time, because the transition of energy doesn't go through that meridian very good. There's a stoppage, and that stoppage will usually wake you up. Okay. Now the lungs are all about breathing, and they actually form energy from the air. We actually only get 40% of our energy from the food we eat. The rest of the energy comes from like breathing in. Even like if you smell good, like fresh cucumbers or fresh fruit, you actually get energy from that smell, from that fruit. That's why it's so good to have fresh stuff. You're getting energy from the food you eat, but also from that smell. The lungs also help to distribute that energy throughout the body. They work with the kidney to regulate metabolism, important in the immune system and resistance to viruses and bacteria. They regulate your sweat glands, your body hair, and provide moisture to the skin. So if you don't have good operating lungs, you actually will naturally have dry skin. So it doesn't matter how much lotion you put on. If your lungs are the issue, you're going to have dry skin, dry skin, dry skin. So the lungs also circulate blood. They allow us to move on. And they also give us the ability to speak with a clear voice. The emotions that are processed in the lungs, grief, sadness, detach from ourselves or others. So people that have lung issues, they could be physical, they'll go on to have detachment from themselves or others. So. No, bladder goes from 3 to 5 p.m. So symptoms of lung imbalances, shortness of breath, shallow breathing, all make sense. Okay, sweating, fatigue, cough, frequent cold and flu, allergies, asthma, and other lung conditions, dry skin, depression and crying, and you'll wake between the hours of 3 and 5. Questions to ask. So if you are waking between that time, or know somebody that's waking between that time, or you feel they have old grief they need to let go of, are you getting out of all you can out of life? What do you need to release in your life? What are you holding on to? Does it feel like it's hard to let your guard down? Where in your life do you have trouble being yourself? How can you create more flow in that part of your life? Energy distribution, vitality release, or holding on an issue for you? Do you release grief in your life? And is control an issue for you? And how is your reactiveness to things in life? So all those can kind of be related to lung issues. So that was grief. Now we're going to look at worry. Okay. Worry leads to anxiety and unease, allows one mind to dwell too much on difficulties or trouble. Okay. However, it's also proactive because it allows you to look at the risk analysis of something, you know, that you may need to solve or anticipate a problem. However, without a sense of self and perspective, it can lead to excess. So if you don't have that strong sense of self and are able to look at different perspectives, that worry leads to excess. Okay. Basically, it's problem-solving side of you that may go to extreme if you're in your left brain too much and never allow your body and mind to go into that parasympathetic mode. That's why it's so vital to go into that parasympathetic mode daily. The stronger the sense of self, using the tools to de-stress you, the less likely worry will become destructive. Tools for this are being taught in the Heartbeat training starting September 28th, next Tuesday night. 5 weeks to dive into more of this theory plus practical tools to start living more authentically from your heart and more authentically you. And stomach is what is first affected by worry. And I think anybody who's a worry ward, they can probably feel that in their stomach the most. Okay. And so we're going to look at the stomach and the stomach meridian. So the stomach meridian is from 7 to 9 a.m. You should, if you're an ideal Chinese medicine patient, you go to bed at 10 o'clock, you get your 8 hours of sleep, you wake up at 6, have a bowel movement, and by 7 o'clock, you want to eat. That's if you go to bed at 10. If you're a night hawk, all these times are shifted. So, you know, if you go to bed at midnight, now the stomach meridian's not till 9 to 7 or 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. You guys see what I'm saying there? Yeah. Everything gets shifted. I'm a good Chinese medicine person. I'm usually dead asleep by 10 o'clock. That's the ideal when you study these. But that doesn't mean if you're a night hawk, you're a night hawk. That's okay. I've never been, never probably will be. And yeah, they say if you're a night hawk, you just shift all these. And they even say permanent people that are on permanent nights, like shift workers on permanent nights, their body will switch. So whatever happens from 7 to 9 a.m. will be 7 to 9 p.m. You know, as they're getting up, going to work. So stomach functions, it digests our food, digests also our thoughts, digests our worry, and also what is intellect, what is not. Okay. The emotions here are conscious worry, digesting life, and the full spectrum of emotions. So if your stomach's not optimal, right, you're not digesting all your emotions. And then one emotion or two emotions can become overwhelming. And so you want a good functioning stomach meridian, okay, and stomach, okay. And I'm gonna connect here the stomach and lungs. When somebody like loses a loved one, one of the first things we do in a small town is we take food to them, right? A casserole, because you actually can only digest emotions after food. You actually have to eat food first, right? And you eat a little bit of food, then you're actually able to digest your emotions. So when you bring somebody that's lost a loved one a casserole and you make them eat, also they're overcome with grief. They don't want to cook for themselves, but making them eat actually helps to digest their emotions, and they need to digest that emotion too. If they don't eat, they don't get to digest their emotions. And it's so cool. I learned this years and years ago in Body Talk courses and Chinese medicine courses. And it was so neat to watch. I don't often watch the show, but 600 pounds, my life, or whatever that is on TLC, right? My 600-pound life. And the guy goes, I eat and eat and eat. Then I don't have to deal with my emotions. I just keep eating. And it's true, because if you keep eating, you never get a chance to digest your emotions. There's no time in there. He's just digesting more and more food. You've got to eat, digest the food, digest emotions before you eat again. So symptom of stomach imbalances, constipation, pain in the upper abdomen, weak limbs, swelling of the neck, pain in the neck. As you can tell, the meridian goes up through the neck there. Doubt or suspicions, pain in the eyes, not wanting to eat anything between 7 and 9 a.m. So, and questions to ask with stomach issues. Are there things in your life that not sitting well with you and causing you to feel uncomfortable, thus bloated? Are you able to assimilate and digest your emotions or life with ease? Does it feel anger will somehow change things for you? Digestion of life or digestion of whatever else? Is assimilation, putting everything together, or rejection an issue for you? Are you worrying too much? Are you overthinking everything? What are you defending as really important? So all these could mean stomach issues, okay? Which could mean too much worrying, which means too much in your left brain, which means too much in sympathetic mode. Now, do you guys see that movie that was there at the bottom? Inside Out. Thank you. It is so good because like it's so true to life. Too, we all have these emotions and they can overtake you. And yeah, so it's really neat. And with the core memories and all that, that's how we make our personality. Like it's all stuff I learned in advanced Body Talk courses, was all demonstrated in this movie, Inside Out. So it's just so neat to, and we actually, without moving, we actually do go through a major change at 12 years old, from 11 to 13. So, and they demonstrated that in the movie. So yeah, it was so cool. So now remember I talked about nurturing your essence of you? We'll get to that with spleen meridian. So the spleen digests our food. It actually releases enzymes that go into our digestive canal and help to digest our food so we can absorb it better. Nutrient absorption. Helps in the formation of blood and energy. Keeps blood in the blood vessels, connected with the muscles, mouth and lips, involved in thinking, connected with our muscles, mouth and lips, involved in thinking, studying, and memory. Gives us the ability to focus on tasks. So if you're having a hard time focusing on tasks, your spleen and spleen meridian aren't functioning optimal, okay? Your spleen, I'm gonna give you a side note, exactly what it does. We have red blood cells going through our body, right? Our red blood cells carry 4 oxygen molecules. That's ideal. When they get damaged, they might only carry 1 or 2, okay? What the spleen does is go, hey, red blood cells, you're not doing your job. It takes that red blood cell out of the blood, recycles everything, and then tells the bone marrow to make more red blood cells. So if your spleen isn't functioning optimal, you have red blood cells carrying around 2 oxygen molecules, thus you feel tired all the time because you're not getting the oxygen to your muscles, to your tissues, to your brain. So you really want a good functioning spleen, okay? You really want a good functioning spleen. When you injure it in a car accident, they take out your spleen if it gets injured. In Chinese medicine, they would never do that because your spleen actually symbolizes the essence of you. So they would never, ever take out your spleen. They'd try and fix it as much as possible. But we take it out and we make the liver do it. Whatever the spleen was doing, we just make the liver do it. So, and the liver can do it. It just has a lot to do. So when you're worrying so much, you don't even know you're worrying, this affects your spleen. So basically, excessive worry affects your stomach and your spleen, okay? Causes excessive mental work or can be caused by that too. If your spleen is out of balance, you're tired, you have a loss of appetite, you have lots of mucus discharge, you have poor digestion, abdominal distension, so you feel really bloated, you loose stools or diarrhea, weak muscles, pale lips, bruise easily, excessive menstrual blood flow, and other bleeding disorders, and you're obsessing too much about the past. Okay. Do you guys want to know how to nurture your spleen meridian?
Mhm.
Nurture the essence of you. And then
I just know you were gonna say that.
I love it. The essence of you is to basically get to know who and what you are, what you like and dislike, and start being your own best friend. Start being there for you. Start connecting to your mind, body, spirit, and soul. De-stressing you, being in the present moment. And what do you like and not like, and honoring you. So nurture the essence of you. Usually when I say this, people go, I don't know what that is, Robin. Basically, start to become your own best friend. Questions to ask then. Are you nurturing you? Are you taking time to be you? Do you feel a lack of connection to yourself? Thus, that will cause a lack of connection to others. Are you giving up your power? Are cleansing or purification an issue for you? Are you in touch with the rhythm of life? The spleen is all about rhythms too. So if your cycle's out of rhythm, your spleen's out of rhythm, okay? If your breathing cycle's out of rhythm, your spleen's out of rhythm. Also, your pulse is a rhythm. Anything that's in a rhythm in your life, if it's out of rhythm, so is your spleen. I love, by the way, if you guys can't tell, I love talking about this sort of stuff. I just love it. And I created this whole PowerPoint from all the courses I've taken. So it's the best of everything I've ever taken. So, and gallbladder and kidney. Gallbladder, I'll just quickly go over it. That's decision making. So if you have a hard time making decisions, you're going to have gallbladder issues. Or it can also be anger. And the same with kidney. Kidney can be fear, but it also can be anger. So it's a combination of a few things. More of that in my Art of Choosing You course. Yeah. So we're going to switch from emotions now, and we're now going to switch to actually chakras. They're pools of energy within it. But the one I'm going to focus on tonight is your personal power of you. Basically, the strength of you. So if you don't have a strength of you, a personal power of you, and I don't mean you as a personal power of your career. I don't mean you personal power as your mother, or, personal power as a daughter, being there for your mother. I mean the personal power of you. Okay. If you have no sense of personal power of you, you're actually going to have weak energy in the solar plexus chakra, which is around the stomach and pancreas. So you'll have digestive system problems. So you've got to have this personal power of you to have a strong stomach area, basically. Okay. So the endocrine is the pancreas. The pancreas actually stands for the sweetness of life. So are you enjoying that sweetness of life? That sweetness of being you in life? And I'm going to talk a bit more here about pancreas. Steve Jobs, workaholic, amazing man, but workaholic, died of pancreatic cancer. He never took time out and to enjoy life as much as he wanted to. He had houses he hadn't even decorated yet. What if you love your job? Which Steve Jobs did. He loved his job. However, he was in the left brain too much and not enough in the right brain, the present moment and parasympathetic mode. When he was creative and in the right brain, losing track of time, not worried about getting things done, then you're in your right brain. You're just in the present moment, kind of coasting. And coasting, like you could still be working, but it's creative work, not driven. Driven would be left side. So like, as long as like your job is very creative, okay? As long as you that you, to me, can't overwork. Well, you could, I guess, overwork it, but as long as you're totally enjoying it and being creative, it's your doing the books and all that, that will be too much left brain work.
Gotcha.
Got it? Okay. And he was too much left brain work, Steve Jobs. He forgot to enjoy the essence of him and the essence of life. And so then he got pancreatic cancer. And the emotion is anger. And it's actually somebody else died of pancreatic cancer, Patrick Swayze. And I just saw an interview on him, and he, I think, was already diagnosed with pancreatic cancer. The anger coming from him was immense. And I'm like, wow, yeah, there was something he was angry about. And I can't remember from the interview. He was just angry. And I'm going, wow, buddy, you're using anger way too much. So, and I can't remember what it was about, but yeah, I put those two together with the pancreatic cancer and Patrick Swayze. It was really interesting. Or if you're using anger inappropriately to get shit done, there's other ways to not use anger for everything to get shit done. So if you have a healthy solar plex chakra, that healthy area, you're able to manifest and create whatever you want. You digest life and emotions with ease, and you're able to receive energy and nourishment from the world. So people are able to gift you gifts and you don't feel guilty. That's a high functioning solar plex chakra that you can just receive with no point of view. Not in a greedy way, you just, oh, thank you. Okay. If it's unhealthy, you have a big ego or like really shy. Either way, you're worrying about your ego getting hurt. The big ego or shy, that time bomb, Eckhart Tolle describes that really well. There's an interview with Oprah that he talked, people that are with a big ego, also people that are very shy and can't do anything, they're actually protecting the same thing. They don't look like it. They look two extremes opposites, but they're actually protecting the same thing, that they're going to get hurt. So your life lesson is self-esteem and self-confidence. Self-esteem is how well you take care of you. Self-confidence is how much you're putting yourself out there in the world. Are you confident in who you are? Do you put energy into putting yourself out in the world? Now, if you don't feel you have the right to act, the right to be you, and that goes extreme, your addictions could be amphetamines, which are uppers, cocaine, caffeine, work, and anger. So before I got into energy healing, I was addicted to work and anger. I just lived off of both to keep me going. So I was a workaholic and I loved anger. It just made me come alive. Yeah, not good. And I can't drink coffee, and I don't think I would ever do cocaine, but I actually did amphetamine, like not illegal amphetamines, but legal amphetamines, like, uppers to play hockey with and stuff like that. Not that those are legal, but yeah. So yeah, I love it. So I was way out of balance before I got into energy healing. Like this was way out of balance. I love my anger to get shit done. Not good. So questions asked when personal power feels out of balance. Do you feel life comes at you faster than you can handle? What would you lose if you're able to digest your life as it comes? Would you lose excitement? Would you lose that rush? So that's what I was before energy healing. I felt I'd lose that rush. Is there anyone in your life who tries to control you? Do you try to control you too much? Do you have resentment and anger towards people or things in your life? Are you able to adapt to people around you? Are you willing to be more flexible in life? So these are really good questions, aren't they? So now we're going to chat about breathing. Okay, we've got an hour and we don't have too many more slides to go. So quality of life is quality of breath is quality of life. Energy comes to those who breathe. If you're breathing perfectly, they say it's impossible to get sick. Breathing is an energy pump, like it gets energy moving in your body. Breathing uses breath to scan the body of all frequencies. So when you breathe in, okay, your brain actually scans different parts of you, okay, and the lighter frequencies of you and tries to naturally fix them. Your brain does that without you even doing anything. And when you breathe out, your brain scans the denser parts of you, like the muscles and the bones and the teeth. The first ones is like the blood and the lymph and the energies. The second one, the expirations, is the denser ones, okay? If you have a hard time breathing in, it's symbolic to being able to get in touch with life. So if you can't breathe in deeply, you actually have a harder time getting in touch with life. And if you can't expire deeply, like exhale deeply, you have a hard time letting go of attachments. So I just love how you breathe is symbolic to who you are. I just love it. So, and this is what I already said, breathing in upper frequencies of the body, like blood, lymph, emotions, chakras. Breathing out is lower frequencies. Perfect. So if you're breathing really good, your brain is actually repairing or trying to repair as much as it can. Okay. Perfect health equals perfect breath, able to let go of everything. You don't breathe out fully, like say you hold it in, your brain doesn't see you have teeth and doesn't do anything to fix them. So then, yeah, as soon as you don't breathe out all the way and let go, like your brain doesn't even notice you have teeth and then doesn't send energy, thus blood, less lymph there to fix them. Okay, and we have somebody in town here in Brandon that does breathing de-stressing sessions. I know she probably calls it something different. It's Marcy Goetz on Facebook or Release with Marcy on Instagram. And that's her email too. Good question here by somebody in Alberta. What if your blood cells aren't carrying enough oxygen as you are breathing? That would be your spleen. And so back to your spleen, you want to get a high functioning spleen so that your blood then is carrying more oxygen. So start nurturing the essence of you. And with breathing, you are going to invite as much oxygen to be carried by your blood with breathing more deeply. The essence of you is joy. That's really your only true emotion is joy and peace. I shouldn't say just joy and peace. And the peace of being you. Being joyfully, peacefully you is the essence of you. I talk a little bit about that in my book too, the essence of you. I don't know if I say the essence of you, but connecting to your mind, body, spirit, and soul, how vital that is. Choose to get into your parasympathetic state more often. The healthier your immune system will be, you'll able to digest, rest, and heal. You'll feel safe, thus less anxiety. If you're wound up all the time, you can never relax into the potency of you. You are in your head too much, plus in the polarity of thoughts. Relax into being you, the you without thoughts, the energetic you. Are you able to handle day-to-day stresses with ease? Be in your heart being more. That's what my heart being trainings are all about, is getting into this, not this, but this more, okay? Able to connect more easily to your essence, your soul, your body, and your brain. More theory of this later. I don't think later tonight, but more theory of that's in my book. Okay, and then we have a technique to learn. Okay, so this is a technique, and I learned it about a year ago, and I haven't done as much as I'd like to, unlike the other techniques I've learned over the years. But this is a way to get you into the parasympathetic mode quickly, okay? So what you do is you take your fingers and you interlace them, okay? You guys can practice this. Put them behind your head and basically relax your head into them, like kind of lean back your head into those interlaced fingers. Now I want you to look right with your eyes. Don't turn right, look right with your eyes, keeping your head forward. And so I want you to close your eyes and, still looking right, do some deep breathing and just relaxing there. And I want you to keep breathing deep. I'm doing exaggerated breath so you can see me, until you feel you have to take a much deeper breath in, or that you have to sigh or exhale, like till you feel your body relax and let go. And there's my sigh. So if you want to do yours longer, you can. And then head still center. Now look left and do it. Eyes are closed, but you're still looking left. And my next breath feels like a nice sigh. There, and you can slowly relax your arms when you're ready to and open your eyes. And allow this peace to spill over into all aspects of your life. Just that relaxing, that getting into that parasympathetic mode, like it's much more of a centered way of being to be able to get in touch with life more or to tackle a problem with ease. Like it just feels like you almost need to do this morning at work and afternoon, like, you know, before you start, after you start, you know, and before and after. And that's why I like this one. Like I have other techniques too that I've taught over the years, like courtesy, stuff like that. But I like this one because nobody has to really know what you're doing. It's just you're looking right till you feel like you can sigh or really exhale. Good. And then you're looking left, you know, with your eyes closed, looking left. So are you ready to nurture you and be more of you? I have a heart being training. This is basically taken. I won't be talking about, you know, the emotions so much. I'll be more teaching what I just taught, more get in touch with you, more techniques to help you feel empowered. Okay. It's 5 weeks, 75 minutes online, presentation with me every week live. What is the connection with the eye positions? The eye, okay, I'll go back to eye positions. The eye positions allow us to access parts of our brain that we need to tap into to let go of. So, and I don't know how really else to explain it besides that, but it activates our brain to go, oh shit, I am, excuse my language, oh crap, I am holding on to stress. Oh, I need to let that go. Until you activate parts of your brain doesn't know it's holding on to stress. You may know, but your brain doesn't. So yes, heart being training for the next 5 weeks, starting next week, 75 minutes online live presentation with me every week, in which you'll learn more theory, easy and fast tools like what I just taught you, basically creating more of the sense of self in everything you do. It's allow you to live more consciously from your heart and step into more being you. It's $195 for 5 weeks. That's the intro price. It includes a PowerPoint handout plus guest speakers on top of the 75 minutes and with more insights to create more authentically being you. And we'll have our own Facebook group. And then you guys can ask me questions all the time, private ones or with somebody else. And then I also, there's heart being training 101. And then starting in November too, I have heart being empowerment. And that's more of the energy of you, more of those questions and stuff like that. So, yeah.